Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You're watching the SalaamSeeker podcast, and today we are blessed to have Brother Ainul back. Thank you so much for coming back.
No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me again.
And our audience clearly loved you because that's one of our most viewed episodes.
Oh yeah,
Is it?
Yeah.
Either I said something right or said something wrong.
Or something controversial.
But,
Somewhat blew up, didn't it?
Yeah.
We're not covering that one in this episode.
No.
Yeah. So last time we spoke about just general Islamic finance.
General Islamic finance.
But today we're going to speak about cryptocurrencies, and it's
Yeah.
really interesting because I know a lot of people my age are massive into cryptocurrency, but they don't know why, like what's going on. They just see
Yep.
numbers, everything's going up, Elon Musk, Twitter, everything.
Yep.
And there's a lot of ambiguity about, is it permissible or what actually is cryptocurrency? What's the technology behind it? And what are the different cryptocurrencies there are? Which ones should we invest in if we were to invest in? And specifically differentiating Bitcoin to other cryptocurrencies because, there's a technology there that serves a purpose rather than other cryptocurrencies. And I know a lot of people that's lost a lot of money through cryptocurrency as well. So inshallah we should try and...
And I'm on the other end of the spectrum that just wants to know what is cryptocurrency.
Okay.
And that's it.
We'll start off
from that.
What is a cryptocurrency?
Also, when did it start?
When did it start? Okay.
Good point, yeah.
So unfortunately, this time around, I have to refer to some notes so I get the
Stuff
dates
your
and
life.
time. Right? So I put that caveat out there. I have to put another caveat out there. Being from a financial background, this is not financial advice. This is information and learning.
Yeah, that's
I won't tell you buy this, buy that. At the end of the day, I have to equip you with knowledge and understanding so that you can make your own choices.
Yeah. It's like a disclaimer.
It's just a disclaimer that, especially in my sector, we have to do.
Unless we build a SalaamSeeker coin.
The worst coin in the history of cryptocurrency.
So let me start off with, so a lot of this technology has been around for quite a long time. The way they encrypt information, so that it is a lot of how computers are encrypted, how your mobiles are encrypted, that's been around for a long time. A lot of the technology that are storing information and how you store information has been around and improving over time. And there's been a lot of dissatisfaction with the banking system. So the whole crypto technology really stems, the whole crypto scene really stems from somebody coming up with a technology and applying different concepts to make it universally acceptable and universal standards that then can help drive some of the crypto improvements that have happened over time. And majority of that really comes from the blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is a peer-to-peer record-keeping tool set that cannot be tampered with a big star at the end, and I'll come back to what that star means. So in 2008, a random paper dropped which connected various components, blockchain technology, how you link different pieces of information together, crypto technology, which how you privatize information so you don't know whose information is on that data set, and also information associated with peer-to-peer servicing, where you're not reliant upon a large banking institute. When the 2008 crash happened, a paper dropped which basically said, I have a new theory that can work without a bank. Oh. Now, and that's where a guy called Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know if he's real.
Yeah,
we don't know if it's a collection of people who have used that naming.
Is it a bit like Banksy?
It's a bit like Banksy, but we actually know Banksy exists.
Yeah. This one, we don't know if it's a concept.
Some people say Banksy might not be one person.
Exactly. Yeah. Indeed. So, so this paper suddenly drops, and then the technology world got very excited about it, and then you had the general technology enthusiast started developing what his paper articulated. And his paper articulated a peer-to-peer record-keeping system that cannot be tampered in a very simplistic way. So basically, if I give you something, that peer-to-peer record keeps a transaction of me giving something to you. It then encrypts it. Some parts are encrypted, some parts aren't. The part that's encrypted is my name. The part that's encrypted is your name. But the part that isn't encrypted is A sent something to B.
Oh, so the amount.
So it's the amount, what it could be a portion. let's not think of it in monetary terms, because if you think of it in monetary terms, you suddenly then say, well, is it money, is it not money? But we've got to keep that concept separate. It could be, I gave you a book. I gave you a book today, and we kept a peer-to-peer record of that information being sent. That technology is used at the moment, and every single one of you use that technology. Would you know what it is?
The mobile phone?
Yep, but what system?
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp,
Yeah.
right? So WhatsApp is a peer-to-peer information service that sends it around.
Yeah.
Now, just say you had a group of 100 people on that WhatsApp group. When you send something through, everybody gets a copy.
Yeah.
Family groups.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
family groups. And they can be quite boisterous as well.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody gets a copy.
Yeah.
Would you ever dispute an individual's copy if someone showed it to you and said, this is what my family said? Would your first instinct be, maybe that message did not come from them?
No. It
You
would,
implicitly trust
that it
that the
came
record
from,
keeping came from them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you wouldn't actually even question.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
actually question that, right? The technology behind WhatsApp is very similar to the blockchain technology, where information is shared to a large group of computers. The same transaction is shared between a large group of computers, and they have a algorithm of checks that they apply, and I won't go into the maths of how the algorithm works, that every computer that has shared that information is all at sync. Now, what happens if out of the 99 people, one person had a message different? Who would you say was corrupt, the 99 or the one?
the one.
The one. So the one would have to change their record to the 99
Yeah.
to be back in sync.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so computer protocol does exactly the same thing in blockchain. When one computer goes out of sync, and generally it's not because it's been tampered with, but generally because it's gone offline.
Yeah.
Say this node exists in Japan, it just happens that it goes offline, the internet stops, it's now fallen behind. But when it comes back up, the computer will say, oh, I'm misaligned now, let me just catch up. And so your WhatsApp messages catches up.
Yeah.
We should pray for the brothers and sisters in Bangladesh who are fighting some of the
Yeah,
stuff that's
subhanallah,
and all their internet is down. So there's a lot of people I haven't been able to get in contact with. But that's when their internet comes back, everything will get resynced. And that's what blockchain technology does. It keeps a peer-to-peer record of all transactions in a chain continuously forever. And they use encryption codes to make the size of information very small, and then they're able to keep the record. Then there's a private part, i.e. the names of the individuals, and there's a public part of what that actual transaction is. So blockchain technology was built mainly because people were disfranchised by the banking system. Every money that moves around has to go through a banking system, multiple banking systems. But they wanted to design a peer-to-peer system where a banking system was not involved, and the technology in itself can keep itself corrected. In the same way, WhatsApp used to boast about the ability that they were private, secure, and so on and so forth. There was an uproar when they moved over to Facebook.
Yeah, because
Is it really Facebook? Right. So in the same way, and the blockchain technology has remained private, has always been this record-keeping tool set and the way things move. Now, in order to keep that record pure and unique, there are a couple of things that happens in the background. There are algorithms that run on computers which double checks all the chain. And the idea behind it was as you're checking the chain, you're going through effort. You're putting your computer time in, you're putting your electricity and everything you need to compute. As you go through the checking and as you're supporting the validation and the integrity of the system, the blockchain technology and the first iteration of the blockchain technology equated to a Bitcoin being offered. So the first group of people who were supporting the validation and the integrity of the system were being recorded a Bitcoin for every so many hashes or proofs that they managed to encounter.
Bitcoin as a reward?
As a reward for engaging in that peer-to-peer system and actually putting in effort to validate its integrity. So you pay a fee to the bank. What do you pay them for? To manage the integrity of the money that moves around.
Yeah.
Right? So in the same instance, the first first crypto, it's not really crypto, first crypto that was designed on the blockchain technology was the Bitcoin. And then money used to move around and people used to validate it.
So,
And they
sorry, you mentioned that it required someone to put effort in.
Yep.
Can you specify what that effort is like?
Majority of it is having a computer, having algorithms that run in the computer, and it checks that one chain equates to another chain for a certain block of information. So you're proving that if 100 people have recorded this information, every computer also can prove that that same algorithm, the same movement of information took place. So you're putting that effort in to create integrity in the system.
Yeah.
Remember, this is integrity of a system without a banking system. Without the whole government systems. Without the banking institutions. It's independent of all of that. So this kicked off in 2008, and then that technology was starting to be used in different areas. People were saying, well, I can do this with that technology, and I'll move it forward a little bit. There's one quite important thing that I need to say, which is quite important, especially in the crypto world, is there's an element of 51%, what they call a 51% attack. If 100 people had WhatsApp messages, and 51% of them had the wrong message, which one will take majority when everybody comes back online again?
One with the wrong message.
The one with the wrong message. So one of the key things that you have to understand when you look at a cryptocurrency is what is the probability or what is the chance that somebody can corrupt the information, right? If you don't have enough computers globally, separated out by institutions and different people, you could collude with, if you only had 4, you could collude with them and say, well, issue me £1 million, or sorry, million crypto, and put it under my name and change everybody else's name. So it's a very important concept, because when you start looking at the different cryptos, different currencies, different things, you then have to have an understanding that there are potential flaws that can be possible, and you have to mitigate yourself from those flaws, especially when you look at some of the more fringed cryptocurrencies that are out there. So once the technology was developed, it expanded to other user cases. So the first user cases then became an element of store of value, being the Bitcoin. The store of value, just like gold, gold stores value. You can't go out there and go pay for something with it. It stores value, and the value goes up and down. The first Bitcoin was a store of value. Somebody's put that effort in, and he's hold one coin. He chooses to sell it. Sometimes he chooses to hold on to it. The value of that coin is determined on what everybody else will pay for it at the given point in time. And you see movements in the market depending on what people will be willing to pay for it, and how much the typical principles of availability and demand kicks in. If a lot of people want it, then the price will go up. If not many people want it, the price will go down.
Why would people want it in the first instance?
If you want to move away from the banking system and keep a record of transactions that's not on a banking system, that's one reason. So in the initial days in 2008, even when I was told about Bitcoin and so on and so forth back in 2018, the first reaction was it's drug money, drug lords money, they're moving it around the world and all that kind of stuff.
I believe 40% of the transactions were used for
that purposes initially.
Like the Silk Road incident.
Indeed. So it was used in the black market space as a way of moving valuable items of value at the time. But over time, it became more mainstream. As people got more and more disfranchised about the banking system, people thought, you know what, I could put my money elsewhere if I wanted to, and they started choosing putting it in different places. And so the functional adoption of Bitcoin went up and up slowly. Now, over time, people have had to consider, well, this is new technology. I can use it for proof of chain. I can use it for proof of information. And then the likes of Ethereum and other coins came into existence. And Ethereum was just like a platform on which to do crypto transactions. So if you had a wonderful idea and you wanted to use their platform, all the technologies is all built for you. Just like Microsoft, if you want to use it to do certain coding, all the technology is there for you. You can just use their technology to do what you want to do. And so Ethereum became the new kid on the block about how you can use that technology. Somebody then realized that, and then even at the time of Ethereum, you can actually raise money through a coin offering. And the only difference is raising the money through an equity offering and a coin offering is that a coin offering is crypto linked. It's got, it's like an asset that you normally get, but it's linked and you can tie back to the original, and every time you sell it, you can keep a record of it. And then they started creating exchanges. So a lot of applications started developing on top of the foundation of the cryptocurrency, foundation of the blockchain technology. And then people started to create offbeats of the banking world, but in a crypto scenario where, again, there is no peer-to-peer banking oversight. And it gave the freedom, especially for people who are completely disenfranchised from the banking system, to actually create a novel way of transaction between them. Now, coming back to the element, and I think I should touch a bit about the halal and haram element of it, there are differing views. Majority of the differing views fundamentally focuses on what is the intention behind that coin that was launched. Now, you can now get coins that all they do is lend money, and you get an interest rate back. Now, if you're trading that coin, so if you, that's like saying, Barclays Bank has lots of shares. I will buy Barclays Bank, and all they're doing is lending money and earning interest off it. There are coins out there, crypto coins, where their fundamental principle is exactly that.
Okay.
Then what they're trying to do and how they're trying to do it is haram.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will agree that you cannot invest in that cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So
Does this make up the majority of coins? Most coins behave like this.
most coins have an element of interest built into the structure, or mimic the banking system, and so would be considered interest bearing and haram in nature. Majority of the coins that get passed are utility coins, things that you can do something with that coin, or you can when you there's a brother who launched one in North London, where if you buy his clothes that he publishes, you get a coin in return, on the basis that every coin that he gets encourages people more to buy his clothes, and then he actually offers them a share of the business. The coin equates to a share of the business. So his business is halal. He's selling clothes. He's trying to encourage people to buy his clothes through a share of a coin offering. And the idea being is if he can sell more and more and more, he will give you, the people who have invested in him, buying his clothes, a share of his profits.
The more you buy, the bigger
the share he gets. And that's his vision. So as the brother developed the clothing range he was offering, we have to be careful when we look, and this is where we mustn't follow these cryptocurrencies blindly. We have to look at what is a store of value, what actually people buy just to keep, just like gold. You know, gold is considered to be a store of value. It protects yourself from movement of currency.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about inflation, how money can be devalued. There are principles based within some of these cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin is the biggest one of these, where they will only issue a certain number of Bitcoins. That's it.
And why is that important? Sorry.
It reduces the opportunity to create inflation within the system. The banking system is inherently structured with they issue more money, the value of money goes down, you know. But if you limit the supply, then there's always value in it. So look at gold, for example.
Yeah.
Gold is limited in our world. You know, we had ransack of Africa that took a lot of the gold out. French were the biggest culprit, but there are lots of other culprits in that. But it's limited supply. It takes X thousands of years. But if I asked you, what value does gold have to you as an individual? Nope, it has a market value, and it means I can get lots of money out of it, and I can buy lots of things. Intrinsically, there's nothing valuable of gold.
But it's just because the market has made it value.
Market has made it value. And in Islamic history, there have been other things that have market value. You know, we used to exchange things with dates, or we exchange things with silk, and so on and so forth. Money just became a means for that exchange, and a Bitcoin then just becomes another means of that exchange, and it becomes a question of supply and demand of what that price is. So it stores value generally, and all of these things will go up and down, and you have to be careful as it goes up and down. But as people have started utilizing the principles of blockchain and cryptocurrencies to raise funds, there is a lot of them that do it just to implement haram businesses. And there's a lot of people who've lost a lot of money. OneCoin, for example, our community was hit very badly by
Very
OneCoin. OneCoin scandal. That was a pyramid scheme in structure. Basically means the lowest person pays into the person above, who pays into the person above, who pays above, and it pyramid schemes. So you have to study and understand, read the white paper, read the technical papers of what those cryptocurrencies are doing. Don't blindly follow them. Now, blindly follow them may make you a little bit of money, may make you a lot of money and be a pauper the next day. And you would have heard stories how people became millionaires and then suddenly they don't have any. And greed fundamentally changes the way you work. So the last big exchange to go down, Sam, something I've forgotten his name now, greed overtook him. Basic greed overtook him, and he just spent money, billions left, right, and center. And so, look at going back to, I'll summarize and then I'll give you open for questions. You need to understand what it is, study what it is. You need to understand that conceptually there's value in it, and that value would go up and down, so you run the risk. You need to understand that people are using it to do, in Islamic finance, what we would consider haram. And don't blindly follow the markets because you think it's going to go up and you'll be the next millionaire. You actually, if you want to invest or do anything of this nature, you really need to understand there is potential harm, and you need to actually engage, understand, and believe in it. Why do I believe in it? Because I think it's an alternative to the banking system. Do I think there's value in it? Like millions of others, I think there's value in it. Would I day trade it? No, because I don't think it's an asset that you buy and sell very, very quickly. But you have to get to an understanding of why, what it is, and how it has been developed up, and just make sure you actually check things properly. And then even within the scholars, there are differences of opinion on certain elements of things, and differences of opinion about some of the intricacies of how some of the cryptocurrencies work and what they do. But you will find many advice that are can be yes or no. So you have to again understand who's giving the advice, what principles they're applying, and if they stand up to your understanding or your criteria. So that's
education is very important in this aspect. In terms of an Islamic viewpoint, you've made it clear in terms of like there are differences of opinions. So it's very important as Muslims we really understand what we're doing. Indeed. Otherwise, we can really go into something that potentially can be haram. Indeed. And especially those, it's easier to see it when you're in banks and say interest or financing. Oh, this has interest, and then you can avoid that. Especially those that are generally trying to avoid it. But with this one, it can be a bit unclear, can't it?
Very much so, very much so. And if you don't know what you're looking out for, if you don't know how they term things, it can be completely misleading. But in the same instance, there are a lot of things that are still intrinsically valuable to invest into.
I was wondering, brother, with the bitcoins or cryptocurrency, are they ever? Do they ever go back to like funding wars or anything like that? Do we know about any of that, or like used for illegal stuff like
drugs and
weapons and so many different things?
It's interesting you asked that, but you never asked about money.
I was going to say.
No, generally.
I applied that with, why I'm saying that is because with banks, like for example, I used to be with Barclays, and I've stopped with them because they actually provide money to the Palestine thing, and now I've kind of moved to. So I'm just trying to think of that, like where I'm putting.
Just like anything, it's a mode of transaction. It's your choice of what you do with that transaction.
It's just like money.
It's just like money.
Oh no, but I'm saying where it's staying. That's what I mean. So it's not like that.
So it's not like a bank. It's not an
organization.
I was thinking it's staying somewhere.
No.
Yeah, that's what.
So just like if you ask the question in the WhatsApp world, where's your messages? it's in the electronic system and it's recorded there. In the same instance, the algorithm of a blockchain has recorded that you now
so
own.
It's not like if you're putting money in a bank. It's not.
No, it's not in one single place.
It's not an organisation.
And that was fundamental to people who designed it, because they were so hateful of what the banks did and the amount of money they took from people in the 2008 bailout, and how they still survived. That really deep-rooted individuals absolutely hated that completely. And they said, we can't survive like this. We can't be surviving on a handful of banks dictating what we do, how we do it, and actually managing and taking control of everything that we do. And so,
this makes more sense.
sure.
Sorry,
No,
go.
go.
The interest element.
Yep.
How does the interest grow? Because if it's just like money.
Yeah, so there are elements of the cryptocurrencies which are store of value, so the money principle. There are elements of cryptocurrencies which are trading in principle, and there's elements of cryptocurrencies where they've collected a lot of money together and they're now lending it, and they're using it to do different things. So it's the application of it which then could potentially create interest, depending on what your rules and regulations are of the cryptocurrency you've created. So for example, that glass could be fundamentally halal. Nothing wrong with it. Yep. If I put water with it, all of you drink from it, yes? If I put alcohol in it, would you drink from it?
No.
But the glass is still halal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the glass is still a valid...
There's an external factor.
There's an external factor. So that's what... Yes, very, very good point. It's the crypto tool set is halal, and the way it works and what it's trying to do.
That's what I was trying to understand.
People are using it to do...
Using it for.
And then
It's like a gun, basically.
Effectively. And that's the sister's point. They're using it to generate interest, to generate value. Somebody's saying, well, I'm going to lend... I have collected all this money through a coin offering. I've got £10 million. I'm actually going to lend it to this person and that person, and they're going to pay me back with interest. Now, your crypto price will go up because it's earning interest.
Yeah, but it's haram.
But it's haram.
Yeah.
So, fundamentally, that cryptocurrency, the cryptocurrency in itself is halal.
It's halal, yeah.
But it's haram, but it's still using the technology that is fine. So that's why the use case, the principles, and even the intentions behind some of the founders is quite an interesting thing to look into.
How does one...
Oh no, that's not fair. Brother Faiaz had a question for like...
No, go on.
Let me just go with that. So how does one research to that degree? Like, for example, someone's intention. How would you do that?
You could there's two types of people in the world. The ones that are really forthcoming and energetic, and they will tell you exactly what they're trying to do with it. I want to make money by charging interest. And there are others who will publish a lot of information, technical information, but their intention is just to create something of use, of utility. So the Ethereum guy, he's not a very public person. I can't remember his name, apologies. But his principles has always been, I'm trying to create a platform for people to exchange and trade and use. And so he's not there to say to crypto A, please come use my platform so that you can generate more interest. He says, I'm just creating a platform for everybody to use. A shop, he's created a shop front for people to use. If people want to use and sell haram, then he doesn't regulate that, because it's not his area of regulation. So it's what people's intentions are. Read around the subject, read about their papers, read about all the things that they're putting out on YouTube and other social media. Get involved in some of their some of the social media postings, and you can quite honestly tell the intention of the person. If he's going out there boasting about how his £1 million yacht, sorry, that's a bit cheap, how his £100 million yacht looks and so on and so forth, you really got to ask yourself, what's his intention behind him having this cryptocurrency and what he's trying to do? There are people who I've met who are all their thinking was, I want to manipulate the market to pump the market up and then sell it. That's their intention when you drive down into the fundamentals of what they're trying to do. You know what? If you even begged me, I wouldn't invest. Even if you made £1 million, I wouldn't invest. So you have to really look back, read, understand what they're trying to do.
It's my turn.
Last one.
I just wanted to end by highlighting a really beautiful case of adopting blockchain, and maybe this will help our audience understand why it should be in the best interest of Muslims to adopt this technology. I'm sure you're all aware, during Palestine in Israel, it was very hard to send donations because, you know, they control the money, what goes in and out the borders. However, blockchain, there's no restriction. You can send money. So a lot of people were able to fund food packages and support and hospital bills only through blockchain because there's no one controlling it. And on Twitter, there were certain pages where they were saying, this is the only way we can receive money. And it worked. So many people were saved. So many people had food. So many people had water, access to...
What
they could pay
coins were they
electricity.
specifically?
Bitcoin.
Oh, it's Bitcoin. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So that for us shows as Muslims how, you know, how powerful Bitcoin can be because it's not controlled. You know, we can help people, whereas normal money, they fund wars. With Bitcoin, you can protect people and it's in our best interest to adopt this technology because otherwise how else could we have done that? How many lives has this saved? And if you think about it in general wars, in reaching people who, you know, a lot of the world doesn't even have access to banks.
Yeah,
you know,
it's true.
You can just get someone to set up a Bitcoin wallet, send money, and it will help, you know, alleviate poverty from a very grassroots level. And that's why it's in the best interest of Muslims to understand blockchain and understand what it means for us, what it means for tackling riba, what it means for, you know, mobilizing the Muslim ummah and how we can uplift ourselves.
Yeah, and do it in a halal way.
Exactly.
If Muslim gets involved, it's going to be more likely to be halal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's if they were disenfranchised about the banking system and they want to move away from it, it creates opportunities for us to do a lot more. Helping people, creating products that actually help people, actually funneling information or structures that actually make a difference. And some of the things that even what I encourage everybody is, more we touched on it last time, is Islamic finance doesn't have to be how do I create the same product in the banking system. You know, that for me conceptually is a problem in itself. It's how do we actually do something in a different way, in an equitable way, and actually do it that helps everybody.
That's a good way.
For me, that's the fundamental difference. That's why I studied blockchain, why I got into the details of it, because I think there are better ways the society and more so Muslims can provocate better ways of working together than just relying on banking products and developing things that are in line with banking product but just with a halal label.
And as with everything, mashallah, the more options you have, the less power and monopoly a certain group of people have, and that's never good. And in Islam, when we shouldn't, not everyone, you know, one group of people should never have that much power. Alhamdulillah. But Jazakallah khair for coming. It's really enlightening. I mean, I definitely know what cryptocurrency is now, even know what blockchain is. So it's come out. But if anyone has any questions, I'm sure Brother Ainul will be more than happy to answer them. Put it on the comments and we can get Brother Ainul to answer the question. Maybe even Brother Faiaz can tackle it if we're feeling ambitious. But thank you so much. Please do like, subscribe and share. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.